the way I look at AI, this is not just a data-driven result. AI also decision-driven result, right? As an example, okay, let me step back. As a simple example, we have marketing file that we keep track of how many leads we got during the day, how many good leads, how many bad, how many spam, how many went on site, how many, just all the data. So all this data that we have, in a matter of seconds, you load into OpenAI or ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will tell you what the best ad, what is the worst ad, based on thousands of data points. And it will do it in such speed and accuracy that in the past 30 days, we were able to cut our advertising budget by half on Facebook. And our leads went through 13% good leads, now to 46% good leads.
Hi, Adam Gower here, founder of GowerCrowd.com, where we help real estate syndicators find more investors and raise more capital, and host of the easywin AI real estate show, where we explore how AI is revolutionizing the real estate industry. In each episode of the show, you're going to be hearing either from founders of AI companies who are providing incredible tools to the real estate industry that you can actually use, or from real estate investors and sponsors who are leveraging AI to get a competitive edge. My guest today is Vadim Kleyner, who is CEO at Smartland. Smartland is a primarily multifamily shop with headquarters in Miami, but Vadim's background actually is a tech background. And what you're going to be learning about today are some mind-blowing ways that he is using AI to leapfrog his competitors. I'll give you two examples of how he is using it. You've got to listen out for these. One of them comes right at the end. It is totally worth sticking around for that. The first is that he has developed a program, for want of a better term, or a system using AI that optimizes his Facebook ad campaign. So as you may or may not know, sponsors advertise a lot on Facebook to attract accredited investors into their funds or into their deals. It was very expensive, time-consuming, and not very efficient in terms of conversions. Well, Vadim has figured out a way of dramatically reducing the cost of those campaigns while at the same time increasing the conversion rates of and the quality of the leads. So you want to listen out for that one. It's fascinating how he's done that, entirely done using AI. And the other application that you should listen out for towards the end of our conversation is how he is assessing the credibility of a tenant application using AI to determine to what extent is this applicant, have they submitted a legitimate application, and what's the likelihood they will stay a tenant in the building for a long time. It's incredible. He's really doing some amazing things. Those are just two examples. If you'd like to learn more, and for the only newsletter that you need on the intersection of real estate and AI, go to easywin.ai and sign up. You'll get practical guides, how-tos, and news updates specifically geared to the real estate industry that make learning AI fun and easy and insanely productive. It's totally free. You can always unsubscribe, and it is geared entirely to the real estate industry. Just go to easywin.ai and sign up there. Right, that's it. Without further ado, here he is, Vadim Kleyner of Smartland, with some incredible tools and insights for you on how AI is changing the world of real estate. Here he is. Vadim, good to see you again. It's been a while. Thank you so much for reaching out. It's really good to hear from you again. Actually, I'm going to start at the top. We were talking about something different over there at Smartland, but I noticed that you actually have a chatbot on your website. It's the lady called Lisa.
Correct.
Yeah, Lisa. So tell me something about who Lisa is and the background to Lisa.
Well, Lisa is our internal. It's not AI yet. It's just a chatbot. Just a chatbot. There is pre-programmed to in the old world before AI came out. It was all set and pre-programmed based on some of the responses, some of the questions. So it's very raw. Back then, it was impressive. AI came out. It's not anymore. We are, however, working on a new version of Lisa. And when I'm saying working, it is far from uh, from actual from seeing light of a day. But the idea is that we're going to upload all of our data for past 15 years, all of our emails, all the communications with tenants, all the numbers, all the in our own AI environment, or there would be call it AI environment for simplicity. It's in the old days we used to call it database, but it's still database. It's a vector database. So that's what we're working on in order to have real AI communication, AI reporting, just the whole thing to be driven with the new AI, new backing and the interface.
Okay, so that is pretty sophisticated use. So let's just drill down on that for folk that don't really understand how these things work, and really start at the very, very top. Vadim, most people think of AI as being ChatGPT, and that's it, right? Like ChatGPT, that's AI. And they go online and they figure out how to get into ChatGPT, and they put a Google type search term in there, and what pops out is junk. And so there's this sense that, gosh, there's nothing to it, right? But you just described something that's actually very sophisticated. So what is the vision of how you want to use the database, if you like, but the corpus of information and business intel that you have and that you've gathered over the last 10, 15 years? What are the different ways that you see Smartland starting to use those, and how are you building it?
Well, let's start with the simplest one to understand is approving a tenant, right? So we have data of hundreds of thousands of tenants. We have data of hundreds of thousands of tenants that we've declined or we took on, and we know the history with those tenants. And now we can run this data, right, against new tenant, and we know somebody, as an example, somebody that was born in April of in area of Kentucky is not going to pay their bills for 12 months. They're just going to log out at 11 months. As an example, this is just dumb example, but this is what data does. You no longer have to guess. You no longer have to, well, let me tell you a little piece of information that I know, that I've learned, I've saw, and it should just tell you everything about the data. If you come to your doctor and you think you might have illness, and they put you through MRI, and they give your MRI scan to a doctor, this doctor has gone to school, hopefully a student, might not be, have seen 5,000 cases in his life. He long hours. He's seen 5,000 cases. We hope he remembers all the cases he had, and he can remember that in 1976 he saw a client with a similar MRI, and he can pinpoint the right. But what if he doesn't? And chances are he doesn't. And chances are, I just said a very extensive example of him, doctor, making a decision which we know is not going to be right in this data set. But if you feed this into AI the way it's done now, and what AI would do, it would compare all of them with node outcome. Somebody with such an MRI had 2 years to live, and this is how they lived, and this was the problem, and they would find all the similarities, and now they can make a decision. So having the data in our case, we can make decisions forward, knowing what we have encountered in previously with much better, much better quality decision making than we can do it based on our thoughts and feelings. Right? Here's data. Here's 100,000 people. This is what we know. Somebody was born in April in Kentucky is not going to pay their bill, or vice versa, will pay their bill. Take him. Everything else is irrelevant. So this is what we're trying to achieve, and that's the simplest. That's the simplest use case for AI environment that's available right now.
So let's talk about that a little bit more. And actually, I do want to drill down on one comment that you made. You said in the old days they were called databases, but now they're called vectors. And this is a little bit kind of, into the weeds. But what is the difference then? A database is like, how is it different? How is a database different from a vector?
Well, and you know what? Right now, I'm saying something that I'm not proficient in. I have visited enough of
Right.
workshops,
Yeah.
asked enough of questions to kind of understand for myself how this database is still a database. However, the vector database is a 3D database. It
Right.
is no longer your Excel-looking database where you say multiply A1 and A2. Again, I'm doing it rough.
Yeah.
I'm doing it rough. No, it's a 3D database where data, which is located not just next to each other, but is behind it and up, and
Right.
it's relevance. And in relevance to the word that you're typing, this is how data is being pulled in relevance to the word that you started with, right? And
so basically three-dimensional, and the effect of that, the bottom line, when you talk about this distinction, is that it can process vastly more amounts of data much quicker. At the end of the day, that's the bottom line, and it also produces a different kind of output.
But the speed of production is not because of the vector database or 3D database. The speed of it is really in the data centers that are being built around it. That's where the speed comes from. But for actual functionality, the comprehensive way to pull information, not based on its location within the database, but location relevant to the start of the query. That's what revolutionized this process.
So you're building a custom system. You're uploading all your data to a repository that will house the corporate intelligence from the last 10, 15 years. Like everything is going to go in there. And you're building this system in order to be able to identify good tenants from bad tenants, and presumably a lot of other use cases that we should talk about. So why are there no companies that are providing this as a service yet, or have you been looking at companies to talk about the landscape for third parties?
We absolutely we are using a company that has base to do this, and they would walk you through the process. They would be in simpler words, they would be the database people. Now they want us to use their database, so they're the ones who are holding our hand and walking us through the process onto how to get our database, how to get our data into their database.
Oh, I see. So the actual, like if you've got 1 million emails somewhere, how do you actually get those into there?
Yeah, but I mean that part is easy. But then once you get it in there, right now you need to understand how to operate their database or operate their environment in order to get data in or place data in a format of AI databases, and now how to pull it and in what environment to pull it out of, and how to make the queries, and just if nothing else, they're helping us. They're holding our hand and showing us the
And
ropes.
you're building it at their direction.
Correct.
So what other kinds of like practical uses are there that you
Well, just
anticipate
think of
in this process?
acquisitions,
Think of what?
acquisitions,
Okay.
right? If you wanted to buy an apartment building,
Hmm.
uh, there is an underwriting process, which is very complicated, but it comes down to us making a decision based on certain criteria. Once this criteria is known and you're able to buy data you need, and by the way, right now, buying data is as simple as downloading an app, right? Everything is going into buying data right now. Data that we don't have, let's say to acquire apartment buildings, data that we don't have, we can buy. And the
Like
data,
what, for example? Give me an example of that.
just whatever data you want, you can just buy it in bulk. You just buy it in bulk instead of looking up Zillow house by house and trying to build your own database, let's say manual. You can just buy data from Zillow and you'll just have all the data. You can crunch it in the way you need it.
I see. So you can you could say, show me every apartment building in this city.
Give me one second. It's really hot in this room, especially in this. So I need to.
Sure, no problem. That's fine. Let me
Well,
pause for a second. Hold on.
okay.
So is that the example that you're talking about? So you can buy like an apartment. Like actually walk me through a practical example of how you anticipate being able to use this kind of data. Like if you could, even if you've not done it yet, how do you anticipate being able
So,
to use
I mean,
this?
there's in underwriting, there are certain things that you look for, right? You're looking for a certain location. You're looking for a certain school rating. You're looking for a certain type of neighborhood, whether it's class of neighborhood, class A, class B, class C. You're looking for a certain type of asset. You're looking for a certain type of delinquency. You're looking for certain type. I mean, there's just a lot of data goes into acquiring an apartment building. And all those data points we use when we do underwriting. We have a person, we have an analyst, we have a senior analyst, and they sit and they crunch data. And when all the boxes are checked, they come to our committee and they say, "Okay, we found an apartment building," and we all start asking them questions over and over. Yeah, why do you think this location is good? Why do you think? Okay, so all of this is data points, which we know what we're looking for. All this data you can buy, and once the data is compiled in one space, you can just say, show me all of the class A apartments that are, and that's it. So this is,
And how does AI take over? So I think about CoStar, for example. Isn't that something that you've been able to do on CoStar? You're kind of thinking this two-dimensional way. You've been able to put in criteria and say, send me a list. How does AI help drill down on this?
well, so AI, the way I look at AI, this is not just a data-driven result. AI also decision-driven result, right? As an example, okay, let me step back. As a simple example, we have marketing file that we keep track of how much, how many leads we got during the day, how many good leads, how many bad, how many spam, how many went on site, how many, just all the data. So all this data that we have, in a matter of seconds, you load into OpenAI or ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will tell you what the best ad, what is the worst ad, based on thousands of data points.
Mm.
And it will do it in such speed and accuracy that in the past 30 days, we were able to cut our advertising budget by half on Facebook, and our leads went through 13% good leads now to 46% good leads.
Really?
Yeah. So, and it was all done with a question with ChatGPT. So absolutely same idea, just more data points using same logic with using AI decision making.
That's fascinating. And so you have somebody in-house that is figuring out how to do this. Is you?
That's what I love. I absolutely love technology.
Right.
I can I can sit through nights and playing with technology, understanding technology, and just I can sit through nights. I don't need sleep. I don't need food. Everything else I do for I'm not sure. I'm not sure why I do real estate.
That's fine.
But I live
The
I live
technology. All right, so let's talk about this Facebook thing because it's actually really interesting. So you've got ChatGPT 4.0 now, of course, the
Right.
latest version, and you also have a vast amount of data on Facebook. So, so when I think of Facebook, I think about the screen, the report screen that has a million different points, and it's also three-dimensional. Click here, click there. You see it from a different perspective. A lot of data in there. And the way that you would typically do that, Facebook also gives you some information about what's performing best. You can look at cost per lead. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do. What exactly is the like step by step?
No
What do you do?
From me to you.
Thank you.
Each ad, let's say each ad has beginning, or each ad has a beginning and an end, right? It's a life cycle. So the beginning of the ad is your first image that has some sort of a call, some sort of a click between that ad and the person that is seeing it. Whatever the message you have in it, that's your message. And let's say the message is, would you like to buy real estate? Somebody clicks on the ad and they get somewhere. So the next step is it's either environment driven by Facebook, either environment driven by Smartland. Either they go on our website. Now, let's say they go into, and by the way, both processes are exactly the same, except they're within one environment or the other. Let's say somebody clicks on our ad, goes on our website, and they hit certain page. As you know, it has to be the first ad and the page they land. It has to be continuum. It has to answer the question if there is a question. It has to make sense. It can't just throw them on the front page, right? So you put them on a landing page, that continuum, and then you want them to do some sort of action. And if they done action, our action, let's say your action is making a phone call to us. Facebook does not give you this process. Facebook gives you their data, but really their data come down to me is only how much we spend per month. That's all I care about, because the rest of it, we broke down the step onto name of the ad. Let's say ad calls people. So people, once somebody clicks on people, they land on direct. So people direct would be our website. People direct, and we have two ads on our direct. We have direct accredited and a direct unaccredited. So we have people direct accredited, and then they call, and this is a spam call. So that's what we have: people, direct, spam, or good, or something else. So there's a three. Sometimes there are four attributes, and all of this goes into our last form. When we have a form where our people that are picking up phones, they receive. It's not a phone call that we're looking for. We're looking for a form submit. So form comes in as people, direct, accredited, good. And good comes from them picking up the phone, speaking to and they're filling in the information. There could be other fields in the process, but let's say now we have thousands of, in the past couple of years, we got thousands and thousands of data points. So I take these data points and I send them to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT spits out the best ad, the worst ad, the best ad that performed, ad that ChatGPT proposed that we shut down based on these ads that are on right now. So what is the best ad? What is the worst ad? And when we had to shut off one of our ads where all of us in the marketing meeting sat down and we all agreed that this ad has to be on because it's the most productive ad we have. And ChatGPT came back and said, this is the least productive ad you have. I could not fathom that. And we sat down and we ran it. And yes, this is the least productive ad.
How could you not tell that from the data that Facebook sent you? What was the disconnect with the way that Facebook's data?
Facebook doesn't really give you the picking up the phone,
Right.
speaking to the customer and knowing is it a bad, good, spam to be determined, and then to be determined goes back and it becomes either bad or good, right? So our file is flowing, and that data is not in Facebook. All Facebook will tell me is how much money we spent on this ad, right?
Yeah,
if people direct, they know this is how much money we've spent in such period of time. So that's the data we take from Facebook, nothing else.
Exactly. Facebook doesn't know if somebody invests at the end of the day. And so connecting the dots between a Facebook campaign and actual money raised has always been a manual process.
Correct.
So how do you add that extra piece of data that Facebook is missing when you upload it to GPT? You're taking data from Facebook, and then you're adding commentary from your
We're
team.
not even taking data from Facebook. We just take our manual data. All of it is manually entered. When lead shows up in our email box, it says name of the lead is people, direct, accredited, and that we take this in and we just enter that information in Excel. And then once we know the information for this client is good or bad or spam or to be determined, that's what we fill in. So anyone that picks up the phone, first they do is they fill in the Excel.
Oh, I see. So it goes to, okay, so it's and you're not using any Facebook data?
This data is much better for us for decision making.
That's incredible. That's really
you need more than 4 fields. It's a 4 or 5. It depends on the campaign. 4 or 5 columns that we're using. That's it. That's all we need.
All right. So I forget actually when we started. We could end up talking for hours about this. So what other uses? Let's just think about some others. When we first connected, you were talking about video and other kinds of things. Where else do you think?
So ChatGPT. First of all, ChatGPT. I don't want to brag, but I guess this conversation is going to is going to go that way. Every day, somebody sees me using ChatGPT, they're in awe. They're saying no one, even the most sophisticated IT guys in our company, they're not taken to the ChatGPT to the level it should be taken, or I take it. That's all there is to this conversation. All I want to say is for you, I know you said a couple of times today that think AI is ChatGPT, and it's not, but ChatGPT is mighty powerful tool. I can tell you that this year alone, or last year, we have saved at least $100,000 on our legal fees or legal consulting fees. There's a lot of legal consulting goes when you need to know something, when you need to learn, when you need to understand, right? As an example, we wanted to open up captive insurance. What would be the process normally? I would call attorney. I would start setting things up, asking questions, spending time, just basic consulting, understanding. None of it, right? You go into ChatGPT and that's it, and they give you enough of information. If you have common sense, they give you enough of information to ask a second question, and then a third question, and then you compile your own picture, just like you would if you're talking to somebody for hours with attorneys. But now you have this vast data bank of answers where nobody goes, let me call my peer, let me ask them a question. So it is absolutely insane how much money we've saved on consulting fee, but that is very, very small amount to how much information and understanding that I've gotten that I wouldn't gotten any other way. There's no way that I would pick up the phone a lot of times and call attorney knowing that there's a big bill out there. And I will say, okay, maybe I don't want to ask this question right now. And with ChatGPT, I ask this question, and that's it. And I get ChatGPT to give me to the grainest. I understand pitfalls of ChatGPT. I know sometimes it goes crazy, but I'll go back and I'll re-ask the question and I'll write a contract that I understand, and I'll check other contracts with ChatGPT. I know what I'm looking for. If I would be novice in this, but I'm not novice. After attorney looks at the document, they still send it to me and ask for my opinion. I don't need that middleman. I can just run it, ask it for summary, ask it. How about this? When you talk to ChatGPT and you upload a document and you act as a litigation attorney on the other side, your job is to find deficiencies in this document in order for me to win this litigation. He comes up with great answers. He comes up with great answers beyond belief beyond your expectation of this tool. And I know a lot of attorneys are talking down on it, but I know enough of law by now that it gives me what I need to have. And I also have common sense knowing that now I need an attorney at some point. But there's a lot of use cases where money is being really saved.
So when you start doing this on ChatGPT, what kind of prompts are you using? Are you starting with engineered prompts or simple?
It depends. It depends. There's not a one set prompt. Plus, you already, right, once you use it enough, you already know how communication goes. So you don't always need to start as act as a genius marketer or marketer since 1985 or marketing that was working for David Ogilvy group. You can get really grainy there, but a lot of times you don't even need that. You just need basic information. You go in, and instead of just like we're typing, my question would be, as an example, give me a good path to do video campaign on internet. It will give you a good start for you to understand what you want next, right? So there is no, let's say, general prompt. You know what? I'm mistaken, because what I have in my setup, I have predetermined way of communicating with it. It says who I am. I am from Russia. I'm really bad at spelling. I'm a CEO of a financial company. So take all of that into account when you're giving me an answer. So that is there. At least it knows the way I wanted to communicate, the way I want my answers to be in what type of format, and what to look for, what to translate, so my first answer from them is in predetermined format. It's not completely loose.
All right.
But there is no general prompt that I use.
And the process, just again for somebody who's listening or watching now, it's an iterative process, isn't it? You ask a question, it gives an answer, and then you ask another and another and another, and you continue until it's a chat. That's why it's called chat. It's a back and forth. It's not going to give you the perfect answer first time. It's an iterative process. How would you describe that process to somebody who maybe hasn't dived quite as deep as you have? Like just at high level mentally. Yeah. Sorry.
You have a communication with consultant. You have a communication with consultant about a project that this consultant is very much knowledgeable in, but consultant doesn't know what you want, right? Let's say when you there was a good example today. We were speaking with the law firm, and I explained a couple of our guys the difference between this law firm and a different law firm. We came to this law firm, and they told us what we need, what we're missing. So there are options out there, but this is your best scenario. And this is not ChatGPT. This is what you want ChatGPT to be. But ChatGPT is, you go into a law firm and they say, well, we know legal. How would you like your setup to be? And you go, well, I would like my setup to be. Said, well, in this case, how would you like your setup to be? And then this is communication with the consultant that knows everything about the project itself, or everything about this market or subject matter, but they don't know what you want. So you really need to spell out to them And you also need to remember that they don't know what you know, right? When you're sitting with a vast amount of information, you're assuming the person in front of you also knows. So when you ask questions, you ask less questions from that person because you're assuming they know. So now when you're asking them questions, you need to assume that they're not asking you all the right questions. They're not giving you all the information because they're assuming that you know this information. So you need to just, in your mind, break and go, okay, start from beginning. I don't understand here. I don't understand. Don't be afraid of asking the question and break it down to the beginning. And remembering, the more questions you ask, the farther away you get from your original request, right? So at some point where you get to the, I don't know, to the 10th question,
It's called hallucinating, right? It
yes,
starts to hallucinate.
you lost the original thought, but
Right.
now you have the data. Now, what I do is I copy that my last email, I open ChatGPT new window, and now I start with that, with a new window and saying, hey, now when I gathered so much information, now I know the right answer, right question to ask with a new window. And now I say, now I have a shortcut and say, okay, now take this information and get me
Start
the,
again.
and
Right.
start again. And that's what I do.
Okay, just like I mean, we could talk for a long, and I do have some questions offline as soon as we finish. Actually, an idea that we should talk about, but let's just finish with this concept of hallucination. So, what is a hallucination with any of the LLMs, ChatGPT being one of them? You talked about it. It forgets the beginning of the conversation. So just describe that concept to somebody who doesn't know what a hallucination is.
Hallucination is something that you would say, are you an idiot? That's the point of a conversation with someone that you just want to ask this question. You just go, you an idiot.
Like,
Like
why did you say that?
I just
Right.
explained to you everything. I was explaining for half hour. I was
Mm.
just sitting and explaining to you, and you were having conversation with me, and now you just ask me the question like you heard nothing. That's what communication.
And the reason for that is because they have a limited memory of the conversation, right?
Correct.
That's the point. And at a certain point, it breaks down. And that's the,
Well, but it's not, to be exact, it's not limit. It's not, hallucination is, from what I understand, you can't take it to the
yeah,
bank.
yeah.
From what I understand, it's a deficiency of LLMs for now.
Mm.
They don't know. They cannot put their finger on it and say with exact answer that this is the reason, this is how we deal with it. They're assuming that they understand the reason and they're trying to deal with it.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
perfect. And you know what I find fascinating? My obsession with AI today is that everything we're talking about today, and we should date it actually. This is May, what is it? May 20th, 2024. Will probably be out of date next week. Right? That's what makes it so much fun. But
Yeah.
all right.
But,
So let's wrap up with one, of course, the most important question. You've got a new fund. Just tell me about the new fund. What's the story with that? What is the opportunity? And tell me the website, how somebody can get in touch with you.
sure. Our website is number 2, our multifamily distressed fund. We already had one multifamily distressed fund. This is fund number 2. It is we're trying to raise $250 million in equity in order to be able to buy $750 million in multifamily distressed assets. The reason why it's multifamily because we're in multifamily business. We don't know anything about industrial or office commercial. So it's not that it's not we don't believe in it. It's probably great. We just don't know. We just don't have strength in it. And right now, this is the time. I walked into this business in 2008, and it smells right now like 2008 for multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
And anything we touch, anything you see, you talk to the banks, you talk to people, you talk to owners. It is 2008, as it was for single family homes. Now it's for multifamily. The only people are gonna win right now, just like in 2008, people that are capable of putting cash together, putting power of a lot of people, a lot of investors, and together and buy either notes, which is great approach, either already assets that are in distress that banks are willing to let go. But this is the time to really to enjoy ability to, having cash and buying out really distressed real estate, which I believe you can be buying right now, 60 cents on a dollar, comparing to 3 years ago.
Are you seeing deals breaking loose, Vadim?
Absolutely. Absolutely seeing deals, except right now these are more deals. Most deals I have in Class C arena, but new construction are having even worse problems right now, as two-part problem. One, whoever was building new construction, a lot of them had stabilized interest, calculating at 4.4%, 4.9%. We're at 8 right now. Number one. Number two, the appraisal values went down drastically. So whoever was in the breach, even brand new construction in the breach loan, they're in deficiency right now. They're in default. So we don't see them a lot yet. I'm sure banks are trying to work something out, or Class A new construction are having easier time finding temporary bridge mezzanine finance of some sort. But Class C, you already see there are a ton of it. But we're waiting for Class B and Class A, and that's what the fund is for. You can find me at vadim.k at smartland.com. My phone number is 305-482-1079, and we're headquarters in Miami, and the Miami market is also shaking right now.
Right, I have got one final question. So like Columbo, I don't know if you ever saw that show. He's always the old detective from the 70s. He always had one final question as he left. He always said, all right, we're done. And then he turned around, I've got one last question. How much time do you spend on ChatGPT a day, do you figure?
Okay, if I'm in the office for 12 hours a day, or more, 16 hours a day, I'm in the office. Probably quarter of every hour you can, it's not fair to say it's not quarter of every hour. When I'm in front of my desk, it's probably quarter of every hour. I don't know, maybe 10%. How about this? 10% of my time I probably spend on ChatGPT. But also remember, communication with ChatGPT is it's very short. It's not like I sit on it as on TikTok and I watch TikTok videos of what other TikTokers have to deliver to me. No, I asked the question, I got an answer. I know my reports. I already built my GPTs. You know how you can build your GPTs. I have sets of my GPTs. I throw my report in there. You want another case?
Sure.
Case? So I'm like Columbo.
It's always the guilty guy that is asking the question of that. That's the thing.
One of the first GPTs that I built was to verify if information submitted by tenant is fake, or what is the percentage of it being fake. And this is a really big case for us, because a lot of times you get pay stubs which you don't know if they're fake or not. And one of the ways to check is you check in the fund, the consistency of the fund. You're checking your taxes against local taxes. You're checking their withholdings against all the other paychecks. So what we do is we ask for 4 paychecks. We dump them into GPT. It knows which what state, what county taxes should be accounted for. It accounts for taxes. It checks against all the other paychecks, and with the percent, the answer is 95% certain that this is not fake. 70% certain that this is not fake. That's the issue. So this is a really big case that it was the very, very first GPT that we've built.
How absolutely fascinating, Vadim. We have to continue this conversation. Thank you so very much indeed for joining me. Vadim Kleyner. Am I pronouncing your last name right? Kleyner. Vadim Kleyner, CEO of Smartland. Thank you for joining me today.
Adam, thank you, as always. It's always a pleasure.
All right, that was Vadim Kleyner, CEO at Smartland, sharing with us some really incredibly powerful ways that you can leverage, or at least they are leveraging AI to gain a significant competitive edge in this market, reduce risks, reduce costs, raise more money, and do a host of other incredible things. It really is very, very powerful. And I think the majority of what it's doing is on ChatGPT. So you can just imagine the possibilities when you start to look beyond just ChatGPT. Okay, that is today's episode. Vadim, thank you so very much for joining me. I do so hope that we have an opportunity to work together considerably closer on some of these things, as we discussed after we finish recording this episode. And thank you, dear viewers, as well, for joining us. Really appreciate you spending the time with us. If there's anything in particular that you would like me to research and report on in these podcasts, if there's anyone you want me to interview, just let me know. Go ahead and send an email to adam@gowercrowd.com, and I'll do what I can to accommodate whatever you are interested in. And of course, if you've not yet subscribed to our newsletter, do please go to easywin.ai, where you will gain access to the only newsletter actually that you need that covers the intersection between real estate and AI. And sign up, right? And you'll get the emails. You can always unsubscribe. It should be really cool. All right, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. And for now, this is Adam Gower signing off.